one of the things I mentioned is I was going to tell everybody what my greatest accomplishments was, or one of the greatest teaching accomplishments. I'm actually going to mention two, going to cheat. One is I just came out with my first book last year, or at least first international book last year, as far as on challenging behaviors, what to do when nothing else works. And then the second is that what I discovered is that a lot of accomplishments you're actually never going to know. And this was just a coincidence that I discovered this. Is a number of years ago, I did my TA, teaching assistantship at University of Cincinnati. And I was very big as far as also working with the deaf students out at St. Rita's School for the Deaf. I was a teacher, an RA, and a coach. So what I did is that we were talking about communication, so actually I brought some of the hearing impaired students as far as out to intermix as far as with the group and tell them about their particular experiences. And one of the young ladies as far as in the class, at the same time I was working on my doctorate degree, was so impressed as far as about who I was and what I did, is years later I ran into her at Xavier University. I was doing a training and she followed me in my room. She was the next trainer and she said, Dr. Bill. I said, do I know you? I said, yeah, Kathy. I was in your class as far as a long time ago at UC when you were a TA. My married name is this, but I was Kathy Gardner. I got my doctorate degree as far as in special education. I now teach at Xavier University. But more importantly, she was also on the governing board at St. Rita's School for the Deaf. So those hearing impaired students, as far as I brought to class, made such an impression that it was an area that she became involved with. So I only, again, by coincidence, found out that I actually had an impact as far as on this young lady's life. And same as you'll never find out some of the, quote, greatest accomplishments because, again, they occur and we don't get that feedback. Okay, now we're going to start with a little brain awakening activity, and this is also a team building activity, and this is called the SCAR activity. I've discovered this is a wonderful activity for your 7th and 8th grade students. They love this activity. Now, I do want to mention there are two levels of this activity. One is what we call physical scars, and the second is what we call emotional scars. The emotionals are a lot tougher. And usually it only works when the team or the group is very well connected. Okay? So today we're just going to do the physical scars, and it's an option. Okay? If you want to participate, great, and share your particular story. If not, that's fine too. Because again, you always have the opportunity as far as to pass on some of these particular activities regarding teaming. So I'm going to go ahead and begin. And years ago, when I was a freshman as far as in high school, in my literature class, English class, we read the story of A Tale of Two Cities. And if you remember, The Tale of Two Cities was about the French Revolution. Am I correct? My wonderful English teacher? Okay, well, probably didn't read it, but that's okay. But we had a option as far as to, quote, do a project. And one of the options was to build a guillotine. So a model of a guillotine. So that was the option that I chose. So I made a little model of a guillotine. And what I discovered it worked so well is I severed half my finger and had to go to the emergency room as far as to have half my finger stitched back up. So I have a scar here representing as far as that particular guillotine I made worked so well. And I did get an A on the project because it worked so well. So that's my, quote, one particular scar story, physical scar that I have. Anybody else?
When I was in 8th grade, in the summer between 7th and 8th grade year, I shot up 3.5 inches and the great spot in my hip didn't keep up, and I started school in 8th grade, my hip wound up popping out of joint, and I had to have 3 pins put in my hip. So I missed 3 months of school, which wasn't too bad. I had a private tutor and I got really good grades that year. And then, of course, once you have surgery on something, arthritis sets in. So 23 years later, when I'm at Theater High School, I had to have a total hip replacement at the age of 38, and started the school year in a wheelchair, and actually managed to catch some kids cutting classes while I was in my wheelchair because they weren't smart enough to hit the stairs.
Okay.
So I got to start.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing, and good luck as far as with the recovery. Okay.
I had scoliosis surgery when I was 13 years old, and when I was in 7th grade in 1987. And so I had my scar on my back from the surgery. And so I still have my rods in my back. So,
My sister's.
yeah, it was, it created emotional stuff too.
Yeah, but the physical piece.
But I
Okay.
just had to quit sports, and I was a big tomboy, so just everything, just all of it.
Changed as far as your whole focus in life. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing.
Last February, I was doing a dance class at the Cincinnati Ballet called Rhythm and Motion. It's now called Dance Fix, and we were doing African arm swings, and I completely tore my labrum away from my shoulder socket. So this is your shoulder socket, and it's lined in cartilage called your labrum, and it completely came out and was free in there. So I didn't want to take off school because, you know, kids need consistency, but this June I had orthoscopic surgery to have that repaired, and it was really awesome.
Okay, so you're back 110%?
I'm 110%.
Okay, okay, wonderful. Well, thanks for sharing. Okay, sir.
2 years ago, I had total knee replacement of both knees at the same time.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. That is definitely an interesting experience, I hear. Just one knee, but two. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
I have my forehead. I have a scar that you haven't noticed, but I was in a car accident in 5th grade. I wasn't wearing my seatbelt, hit the windshield, got knocked out. My mom thought I was dead, but so wear your seatbelt. So you know, I learned my lesson the hard way. But, yeah, all the kids always ask, but that's they'll ask and then that's it. I never hear anything else. My wife acts like it's not even there. She never sees it. So.
And they're always very, very interested as far as in physical appearance, especially for 7th and 8th grade. Okay, great.
Coming down.
Expanding. Okay, wonderful. Anybody else who'd like to share? Move on. Okay, great. Okay. If you really want to get kids engaged, this activity engages them because they love to talk about their physical scars. Okay, so why collaborate? People will ask. Well, a number of reasons. First of all, collaboration is a focus of Cincinnati Public. I actually pulled this from a particular program, this Community Learning Centers in Cincinnati, Transformation Through Collaboration, and numbers as far as of our, quote, district. Tina, if I'm not mistaken, is the principal at Winton Hills, if I'm not mistaken. So as I said, she was actually part of this particular training. But collaboration is actually a focus within Cincinnati Public. In addition to that, good friends of mine wrote a book, Char and Jim. And the book says if you're riding a horse and it dies, get off. But that's not what we always do within education. In fact, here's what you do sometimes in education. Do you think a bigger whip would help? Let's visit some schools that are successfully riding dead horses. Has anyone thought of using an electric prod? Let's try a more experienced rider. I think testing the horse would help. I think we should evaluate the horse's reputation. What about implementing an individualized equestrian plan, an IEP, especially for all my intervention specialists? We will categorically deny there is anything wrong with the horse. The basic problem is the horse's parents' poor breeding. Let's try throwing more money at the problem. I think we should give the rider a competency test. What I think is needed is more federal assistance, and I know what to do. If you're riding a horse and it dies, get off the horse and try something new.
Oh, man.
Okay, so.
Hey, Dr. Bill, can I just say something?
Sure, love for you too.
SLO. That's what that feels like. That's all I can say.
Okay. Okay. That's all. Okay. The need to collaborate. Why? Because guess what? Our families are very, very different. Our children are very different from 10, 20, 50 years. Back in the 50s and 60s, what family was that? And the Beavers. And then in the 70s.
The Huxtables.
And then just recently. Okay. So, populations 50, 20, even 10 years ago are very different from today. And what worked then does not work today. And this is the breakdown as far as in looking at some of the demographics as far as within our society. I don't have Cincinnati, but again, Cincinnati's demographics has changed drastically within the last 10, 20 years. So the one-size curriculum does not fit very well as far as in today's modality. And the fallacy of the isolated teacher. Idea that a single teacher working alone can, know, and do everything to meet the diverse needs of our students throughout the school year has rarely worked. That's the importance and need of collaboration. To meet the needs of our students, we have to work together as a team and collaboratively. Okay? Okay? So as learning to serve the students will take diligence, collaboration, and patience to serve our children. Because guess what? They bring lots and lots of social-emotional baggage. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah.
And the only way as far as that we're going to deal and work through that particular baggage is as a team. Okay? Okay. That's why collaboration. And why is it so important as far as in Cincinnati? Okay. In addition, we've discovered the importance of that social part of the brain is that learning is a social event. Teams are what changed culture, positive school culture, as far as within Cincinnati. It's not the principal, the administrators, the psychologists, or a particular individual teacher. It's a positive school culture team that brings about change as far as within that culture. Okay? Teaching today is a team sport, and that's why it's important as far as to collaborate with each other because of that. As a lot of you mentioned, we teach students, kids. We don't teach content. Okay? And motivation, student engagement, important for our students as far as to achieve. Okay. So this is what the research tells us. Again, that climate, that culture matters. Positive attitudes are critical. Engagement is a must. Relationships are important. How skills, which are actually the executive functioning skills. A lot of research in that area. Students don't have those particular skills to be successful. They need to be taught those specific skills. And most importantly, staffs need to collaborate. That's why collaboration is important, to make all this occur. Okay? So today, in our time together, this is a small chip of the iceberg. Lots of work to be done as far as within Cincinnati Public regarding this notion. Okay? So, we want to find out what collaboration means to you. So you remember that basketball partner? Find that basketball partner. See if you can define collaboration. What does it mean to you? Find that basketball partner. Now, I have a basketball partner. That's going to be your partner since we're even number. So whoever the basketball partner is, okay. Okay, she's going to see if we can define collaboration. What does it mean to you?
Collaboration.
I'll give you some ideas of why we need it. What does it mean?
Working together.
Okay, now, this activity is called add-on activity, another wonderful DI activity. Here's what's going to occur. I'm going to have one person from each group bring up their Post-it that has their definition of collaboration. So one person from each group, come on up. Okay, and by the way, you may have noticed is I do have my parking lot, so if there's particular questions, always feel free to ask if you feel comfortable. If not, always feel free to post your question as far as throughout the presentation or the 4 sessions together if you need additional information or you have a comment. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to, everybody stand behind Joe if you could. Joe, we're going to begin with you. What's going to occur is that this is called add-on, so Joe's going to share his definition of what they discussed about collaboration. I only want new ideas as far as added to Joe's definition. So if you have the exact same thing, ideas that Joe has, you just pass. If there's something new to add to the collaboration definition, add it. And we'll go all the way down the line and see what we come up with. Okay, Joe, go ahead. What do you got?
Mr. Weiss and I came up with working together to achieve common goals while focusing on different learning styles and strengths.
Okay, great. I'm going to have you post it right here, Joe, for me. That's where we're going to begin. So, any new information?
Piggybacks right onto that. It's a constant dialogue about the kids.
Okay, dialogue about the kids, okay? Any new stuff, Bill?
Open-minded, listening to each other. That's all I have.
Okay, open-minded listening, okay? Go ahead now. I'm going to have you add up here, okay?
Sharing ideas, brainstorming together, having a good attitude towards it, piggybacks on the open-minded, having willingness and cooperation.
Okay, so a couple as far as other adjectives to describe, and
living up to your agreements, being able to let go, ties in with willing to negotiate, trust, and looking through others' lenses.
Okay. This lens piece is very important. This trust piece is very, very important, which we're actually going to expand on. Okay, do you have anything to add? Because that's a lot of information they gave us.
I think I did this wrong.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay.
Team meetings are extremely, that's what our collaboration is. Interdisciplinary lessons where we work things from each other into them.
Okay, so teaming meetings and also interdisciplinary. Okay, great.
Yeah, the kids always think it's cool when they hear something from one of us that we already know that another teacher has.
Okay, so 2 additional pieces as far as you add. Great. Wonderful. Okay. In fact, your definition is a lot more comprehensive than the one I'm going to share with you a little bit later. Okay. So, now that we have a definition of what collaboration happens to be, grade school row as one. They are quite clearly in the same boat, pulling in the same direction, in unison. The best schools are tightly aligned communities marked by the sense of we, which is something I heard in almost every one of your definitions. Teaming, working together for the benefit of our students. Okay, now with that in mind, I have team building activities. The knot is an example of a team building activity. This is also an example of a team building activity called the knot. Now here's the great news, is you are going to lead us in the future on specific team building activities. Dr. Bill has put together 6 separate team building activities that I'm going to have you choose with a partner, and you will be leading us in that team building activity. So after our next break, we're going to give you the opportunity as far as to work together as a team. We're going to have 6 teams because we're going to do 2 team building activities each particular session. I will lead the 2 today, and then we'll have 6 additional activities. Okay? So, before we actually do that, we are going to do the knot activity, and maybe you have done the knot activity. There's actually 3 different levels of the knot. We're going to do 2 of the knots, and here's what I'm going to have you do. If you were part of the original group, foursome, quad, that Joe was part of, I need for you to come to the front of the room. If you were part of the original quad that Bill was part of, come to the original front of the room. So I should have 8 people coming up. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Okay, now you're going to get in a circle. Go ahead and get in a circle, if you could, please. Okay, now the first.
More lips. Let's bring it in.
Okay, now the first is what we call the simple knot activity, and we will not need any coaching on the simple knot activity because you're going to see it works very, very quickly. Here's what you're going to do: is you are going to connect at the same time directly across the person from you, both your left hand and right hand. So directly across from you, hold their hands. Okay, now they are in what we call a simple knot. Without letting go of the hands, you need to get out of the knot.
We should went low.
Okay.
I'm too short for this.
Okay, wonderful, and okay,
We gotta
okay.
go down.
Okay, there we go. Okay, they're out of the knot. Okay, now, back into the knot if you could, please.
Okay.
This is what I'm going to use you for as coaches. So please go ahead and get into the knot. Go ahead and this time, we're going to make the more difficult knot. What you will be doing in a moment after the knot is made, you will get onto like the 4 quadrants and you will coach them in helping them get out of this very complicated knot. You're going to take left hand directly across the person from you. Shake their left hand if you could please. Left hand. Now right hand. Person directly across from you. Shake their right hand.
Oh God.
Okay. Freeze. Ladies and gentlemen, come up. Kind of the 4 quadrants. You're going to go ahead and see if you can help and coach. Okay, you are into a complicated knot. Coaches will help you. Go ahead and get out of that knot without letting go. Let's see what happens.
Yes, Coach. Oh, she got out.
Woo! Okay.
There you go.
We're out.
Yep, good. Twist, don't be afraid to twist here, guys.
Can we go down?
Can we go in it? No.
No, we
Wait, can I just
I don't know if we can ever get out.
No.
No, I gotta go back.
Can we ever get out?
I gotta go back. Can you come in here with me?
Wait a minute, we can go down.
Yep, there you go.
Yay!
Okay, wow. Okay.
All right, or you could go down.
What?
Hey, don't go over his arm. No, you gotta jump over
gotta
mine.
come over.
You gotta go down.
Mike, you gotta go behind her really weird.
Uh-oh.
And then you gotta step over his arm here.
Oh my God.
I'll spot you.
There you
Yeah,
go.
spotter. Her, she has shoulder surgery, so.
So.
Okay. Are they better?
Wait a minute. I gotta do what? Doesn't Mike have to go over her?
Well,
We could take it.
We can just keep going back and forth through the same hole.
okay, hold on.
Okay.
Stop
Okay.
on
Think about this for a minute.
Okay.
Can you
Think about
guys, can you,
What happens here?
what if you, yes, and then.
Wait a minute.
Now we got that right.
I feel like he needs to go under here somehow, but then what?
I think you're stuck.
Can-
We got
Nah,
You come this way?
You just pull her through, right?
Good place.
Under me?
It's just a continuous.
it. Yeah. I
I'm
don't.
flexible, so if you want me to try something.
Just watch
tell
the
me
left
what it is.
shoulder.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's good now. Did rehab.
Do a cartwheel.
Okay, everybody go down on the floor, and I am going to
Somersault.
figure it out. Okay, down all the way down.
That's how you get them to kneel.
Okay, and go all the way down, and then if I go over here, is it going to change anything? Or am I?
You'll be on your- you'll be on your head.
No, if I do a somersault right now, what's going to happen?
You will end up on your back.
Okay.
Interaction, right?
I think it's
So-
when we put our hands together in a different layer, right? We can't get out of this.
No, I'm looking on the end.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and big round of applause for what we got. Okay, now, what I need for you to do is to link up with your hockey partner. Go ahead and find your hockey partner.
I did transfer heat to my partner's hands.
Yeah.
That's what that's
That's not
Standing.
That's not the law.
Are you actually standing?
No, it's a second.
Okay, hockey partners. Here's what's going to occur. Who's my hockey partner? Okay, got it. Okay. I have 6 different activities. You will pick one of the envelopes. That will be the activity that you and your particular partner will be leading the group. Okay? Now, some of the activities require materials. If there's any materials as far as that you need, and for example, you have to purchase or you need somebody to bring, let me know because I am covering all expenses for this particular class. Okay? So if there's anything as far as that you need that needs to be purchased, well, they're pretty simple, okay? Now, in addition, I have one example as far as in each particular packet because I didn't know how many people were going to be coming, but I will post this week these activities in their entirety on the website, okay? So you'll have that information as far as that you need to be working together to have the same information, okay? I will let you know which teams will be going next week so you'll be able to prepare for it. So, if we're ready,
No pressure.
I was gonna pick that one too.
Good. We're on the same page.
yeah, go ahead and open up, see what you have.
There you go with Thomas.
Okay, and guess what? Okay. Okay, now, if you have the shipwrecked activity, who's got the shipwreck? Shipwreck?
Sweet.
It's multiple pages. Shipwreck? Anybody got the shipwreck? No? Do you guys have the shipwreck?
Oh, we do.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay. Okay. You'll be going next time we meet, which I think is November 17th. Okay? So, shipwreck and the classification game. Who's got the you will also be going.
Okay.
Okay. So, go ahead and spend a few minutes, familiarize yourself, and I said I'm going to put all that information also on the website so you'll have examples of that.
Sure.
Already established.
Listen, it sounds like it's made for today's interest.
Website. The website, as far as that has all of the handouts and the information on, there's a special website.
Is it the CoLab?
Yeah, I'm assuming. No, yeah,
You
the
sign, what
collect.
are you?
What was that?
You sign? Intervention.
Okay, now, Dr. Bill loves uniqueness. If there's a particular activity that you have used in the past, and you can convince your partner that you would like to substitute for the one that I've given you, I am open as far as for suggestions. So at the next break, just see me, and I would love to learn a unique activity to develop teaming that you think is worthwhile. So if you want to substitute a particular activity, see me at break, and I'm definitely as far as all ears. Okay, so whenever you're comfortable, back to your seats, and we're going to go ahead and take one more short break before we get into the meat of the matter.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay,
That sounds horrible.
now,
Do you need
what I'd like for you to do, if you could please take your 3-column sheet, one additional idea to your 3-column sheet that you've learned today. Okay, the 3-column sheet, one additional idea to your 3-column sheet that you've learned.